Good afternoon, morning, everyone. My name is Nomfundo Makhubo, and I have the absolute amazing privilege of working with the communities in the Northern Cape province of South Africa, where the telescope is actually built. So it's nice to have on Women's Day one of the first, not being a gender or race one, but just saying that at least I'm not an astronomer or a scientist. So that's a good first to have today. So yeah, today's topic really for me is really talking about the investment that South Africa and, now with the partnership moving forward for the SKA Mid, what the work that we've been able to do in the local communities and what we also look forward to moving forward. So I want to start predominantly by at least putting this conversation in the context of the National Human Capital Development Program, right, that the South African Radio Astronomy Observatory has run for, I think, 20 years now, if not the 21st year. So I think that's what I want to do first. Oh, there it is. So this is a program, the Human Capital Development Program was started in the year 2005 as per instruction by the Minister of Science and Technology at the time, which also came from, the decision that South Africa had to make from a white paper on science and technology that said, what does the future look like for us? What are we going to focus on? What kind of research areas should we be focusing on to ensure that South Africa is globally competitive and we can, put something forward to the world that, is much broader than only the developmental issues and challenges that we had at the time. And so these decisions led to, a number of things which also then rolled into ensuring that we are part of this project, but also that there's a human capital development aspect that is tied to it, right? So that when we are done with doing the work, that we have researchers and engineers and artisans that are part of building the project, but also the design work and the operation of the telescope itself. The idea was that then we would support students and young people across all academic levels, as we do now, and which we will demonstrate as the presentation moves forward. And the story that we tell is that when this started, we had 5 astronomers in South Africa around 2005, and we're sitting at more than 200 of those, right, in astronomy and physics and so forth. So I think what's important as well, and quite on theme with today's discussion, is that there was always a deliberate effort to address the inequalities that had existed at that time within the science and engineering sector, especially on a racial and a gender level. Again, the white paper on science and technology forms quite a big and important part of that. So again, on a national level, when we talk about the Human Capital Development Program within the South African Radio Astronomy Observatory, these are some of the educational opportunities that are available to students across the country. And yeah, this is, again, the idea is that we wanted to make sure that we build our own timber, right? That we had all of the resources that we needed to be able to competitively take part in this project. Some of the statistics, I am not a STEM scientist, so the numbers are always important for the quantitative people. We've awarded about 1,590 of these opportunities in terms of bursaries and so forth across fields in the STEM fields. And you can just see a breakdown, for instance, of those numbers in terms of the doctoral students that we've, the doctoral degrees that we've been able to support, the undergraduate programs that we've been able to support, and all the other studies, fields of studies, essentially, that we've been able to support. So where do these people go, right? A lot of times we talk about, bursaries as though we're talking about things, but it's actually human beings, it's human faces and lives that we're actually talking about, right? So where do they go? If you had a tracker on them, where would we find them right now? So some of them have been employed by SARAO itself. So we have taken on quite a number of them within the science field. Within the engineering department, we have about 13 of them that currently work for us. Some of them have gone to take university positions within the field as well, with the physics and all the different kind of departments. Part of the national facility, the National Research Foundation, which we are an agent of, some of them have gone on to work there. Some of them have gone on to work within industry. Some of them have gone on to work within the continent, right? And if you think about, I think this has been spoken about throughout the forum, that what we try to do as SARAO is really to be a global leader in astronomy and producing these kind of skills that are not only good for us, but also for the different fields across, all these areas that are represented here. So this is exactly what it is. I think it might give Sis Poncho a bit of a headache when some of us leave, but this is exactly what the intention was from the start. So some of them, again, have gone on to different fields, and some of them have gone on to work within, for instance, the SK Mid Telescope, and even at SK Low as well. So the focus of the discussion, again, I just want to go back to the local communities which we speak about. And for those who don't necessarily have a good idea of the scope or the span of the communities, I like to call it the 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We have one province, we have 2 districts, so that's like how do I put it in a different, like a county, right? Yeah, it's more like a county, right? So you have 2 districts, we have 3 local municipalities, and then we have 4 towns that we work in. So that is the scope of the local communities that we work in. I just want to bring your attention to this, that, I think a lot of people have spoken about, the different kinds of permits and licensing and technical processes that one has to go through to build this kind of telescope. But the focus for us today is much more the social aspect, right? So the social license to operate. So what does that mean? That means, if you ask the general average guy on the street, does this project belong here? Their answer generally should be yes. They should feel offended if something wrong happened to the project. They should feel like this is something that they have an affinity to, this is something that is personal to them, this is something that they are involved in, and this is something that they want to see do better, right? So this is the idea of the social license to operate, and the communities with which we work is part of, essentially one of the main stakeholders in this regard. So how do we do this? So the main focus or way that we do this is we focus on 3 strategic thrusts, and that would be education and skills development, community and cultural investments, as well as business and enterprise development. So everything that I'm going to speak about now is solely in the local communities, right? That is why we wanted to position this under, the national conversation or the national program that we have. So everything that's here is ring-fenced for the local communities. It does not exist in any other province within South Africa, but only for the local communities in which we work. So we have a SARAO Schools program, which provides, educational assistance to 9 schools in the area, in the towns of Carnarvon, Williston, Brandvlei, Van Wyksvlei, Loxton, Fraserburg, and Vosburg. And then we have 3 STEM educators that are employed at Carnarvon High School to ensure that, if we're going to be asking for students to be applying in STEM fields, we probably should be making an effort to make sure that it starts from grassroots level up to the point where that can actually be fed into the entire system. We have reading programs at Carnarvon High School, school development grants to the amount of 150,000 Rand per school per annum to ensure that we supplement the work of the Departments of Education. We have a very cool robotics program that takes place in the primary school and the high school. And really here the story is that, these are people in remote rural areas of the Northern Cape province, really the most peripheral of the peripheral within South Africa, that are now able to take part in cutting edge engineering at basic level through play, and then are able to compete with people globally. And we've had really, really good results from this, because we've had them win international awards just as recent as earlier this year. So it's really something that we're quite proud of, and it's actually quite in the spirit of what this project aims to do, right, which is connect really the world that falls under the broader sky. We have bursary programs that support learners from local towns to attend Carnarvon High School to take advantage of this, the educators that we have put there. We have an undergraduate and postgraduate bursaries, of course, which are part of the program. Then we have also an artisan training program, of which we've awarded about 120 of these, artisan training qualifications to ensure, again, that we are able to optimize and take advantage of the existence of the Meerkat and SKA radio telescope. And then I have some pictures here. Just again, that was at Sol Plaatje University, where we had the local schools robotics team go there, and just there was a course on introduction to robotics that took place there. At the bottom right corner, you have a student from Oxford, actually he's a postdoc from Oxford, and there was a citizen science project that was happening there. Here we have that team that I spoke about, the robotics team that was on their way to Denmark, and you can see we're doing quite well on gender there, I might say. So. Yeah, and then we have community and cultural investment. So our community and cultural investment program is one that is really quite in touch and on the ground with the community. So on a monthly basis, we have local community meetings to ensure that the community is fully aware of what's happening in the community. The issues that they have are placed before us, and we discuss and resolve issues as they come. We have an office that's based in the local community, which I manage, and that ensures that there's warm bodies that are there to actually fully respond to people's issues, and that we also collaborate, right? We're not just here to talk about problems, but we are there to also hear people and put solutions forward that are of mutual benefit to us. We have biannual roadshows that we do in partnership with the SKA Mid to ensure that the executive management of both organizations and also our partners are actually fully there, and they are also able to respond to people and their questions and concerns and so forth. We have an information session center that I've just mentioned. Again, I think what's important to mention with the information center as well is that there's other services like the SMME Development Center, SMME Development Project, there's the Human Capital Development Program, Schools Program is also situated there. So this is where the actual physical services that the organization provides are. Community and cultural investment, we have a local community development grant up to the amount of 150,000 rands per annum, where we then provide support to community-initiated projects. And we always say that, you know, the community themselves are the experts of their communities, right? I, from outside, might have some knowledge on a theoretical level, but they are the ones that are able to say, these are the actual issues that we face, and therefore we allow them the opportunity to say, we will support that if you are able to provide us, you know, with the necessary required information that we need, and then they are able to implement those grants. And from that, we've had some good successes. We've had early childhood development projects that we've been able to run. There's one that I'll show you as well, which is the Swartkop Community Development Program, which you know, is a multi-purpose center. So we have those grants. We invest in heritage activities like the medicinal plant study that we've done. There's an annual Real Dance Festival, which is also just a celebration of local sand culture and other programs that we run. Again, the grants that I spoke about, we have an astrotourism project which takes local youth and, you know, teaches them basic astronomy, and then they are able to tell their indigenous stories through, you know, to communities and so forth. Okay, then we have ICT support programs. Photos of this. This is again on the right, that's the multi-purpose center that we built in Swartkop that is able then to provide a local library, a clinic. That's where the district doctor comes. That's, you know, where other programs like the arts and craft program that is illustrated there on the bottom left are. So this is again one of the examples of the community development grants. Here are the Astro guys. You might have heard about them. Please do Google them. They have a Facebook page as well. They're doing really amazing work and just doing indigenous astronomy, right? I'm not the one to tell their story, they are. And they are there. For those that will be going to Carnarvon this weekend as well, they'll be there to do that astro-tourism experience for you. Something that's exciting, I'm almost on my last slide, is that we have quite exciting and in collaboration also with the with SKO, the Carnarvon Science Visitors Center. And for non-STEM scientists like myself, we're always occupied with how do you bring these things together? How do you ensure that you put in the place and the space, you know, the people of the area under the scientific theme that all brings us all together? And to that effort, there's a Science Visitor Center that will be built in Carnarvon. We have about 5 years to deliver it, but that's something that's quite exciting because it'll bring together all these elements and really bring them to life. And there again, we have collaboration with the local communities in which we work. 1,000 words in one picture. There's a lot of pictures, so many words. Yeah, I think this is basically it. I think, the last one that I wanted to say is that we do place a lot of emphasis on ensuring that the local community can actually provide business services, one to the project itself, but also to to one another. You want to create an ecosystem where once we're gone, there's an actual sustainable local economy that can hopefully do business with the outside world as well. And we've done well in doing that and ensuring that the barriers are lowered, that they are able to do business with us. So even in the previous contracts that we've had about, I think 12 of them took fully part in the contracts, but we're also doing more developments, and we've worked very hard with Tracy and the team to ensure that this is also true for the SK Mid Telescope through the local participation plans that we've done. And that is the end of my slide. I think those are that's a real initiative, those are real crafts. There are real people, whoever's interested in getting crafts from the Karoo, they are available. Please reach out to us. I'm in the pink jacket, so I'm happy to talk about that. Oh,
Thank you. So if you'd like to have a longer conversation about some of the things you've heard about, I'm sure Nomfundo is around and happy to have that conversation. For now, if there are some quick questions for Nomfundo, or if there is a quick question, feel free to ask it.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much. I have been very familiar and connected with the dialogue at Mauna Kea in Hawaii, and your model provides excellent vision and steps that can be taken there, as well as they develop their relationship with the indigenous people, which was very much a problem for some time. So thank you so much.
thank you very much.
Thanks again to Nomfundo and to all of the speakers from this morning's session.